What is up, everyone? JD here. I hope you're all doing well today. Today, I'm really excited to do my full review of the Spyderco Smock. I know what you're thinking. You've had this knife a really long time. We've already seen you do skiff bearing mods to this thing. What is this review about? Well, I did want to wait until I got a lot of pocket time with this knife. I have had a lot of pocket time with this knife, and I wanted to get, over the initial honeymoon phase of this particular knife before I went into the review. And that honeymoon phase has not died that much. There are some things that I'm going to critique in the review of this knife, but not as much as I would have thought. So let me go ahead and get into the specs first and foremost. This is the Blade HQ exclusive. It has a 3.44 inch M4 coated blade steel. I'm sorry, it has a 3.4 inch. I don't know why I said 0.44. 3.4 inch coated M4 blade steel. Really nice coating. You can see a little bit of the scarring on the coating from where I've actually used this. It does have a finger choil, and that also doubles as the sharpening choil. Does have the Spyderco thumb holes that are on, for as far as I know, on 99.9% of their knives. I think they even have the hole, even if it is not a functional hole, on a couple of models. It has a 4.5 inch natural G10 scale here. Looks really good. I think this light is up too bright. Let me turn this down just a touch and see if that helps. This is one of those colors that the camera just freaks out about, so I apologize, and hopefully you can see the gem texturing here on the knife to see that it really does have fantastic texturing. I mean, Spyderco just kills it with their texturing. I feel like theirs is the best on any knife that I've ever handled. It's really grippy without being obnoxious and to the point where you have to worry about it sanding out your pockets when you're pulling it in and out. The overall length on the Smock is 8 inches, and the claimed weight is 3.64 ounces. Let's go ahead and test that out right now. Sorry, let that zero out. So as you can see there, 3.8 ounces. Now it could be that they're using the weight for the S30V, and it could be that M4 is a little bit heavier than the 3.64 weight. The skiff bearings should make no difference at all, not that much of a difference anyway, as far as I know. So it is a little bit heavier than what they claim on the site, and my scale is not guaranteed to be the most accurate scale out there, so keep that in mind as well when we go through this comparison. Now let me go ahead and do the usual comparison knives to give you guys a frame of reference. So the first knife up is going to be the Spyderco Yojimbo 2. This here has a 3.125 inch coated S20V blade with a 4.5 inch G10 scale for an overall length of 7.5 inches, coming in at 4 ounces. So as you can see here, pivot to pivot, the Smock is slightly longer overall, and it has a slightly longer blade length and handle length from the pivot. The next knife I'm going to bring out here is going to be the Spyderco Paramilitary 2. The Paramilitary 2 has a 3.44 inch S45VN blade, a 4.81 inch G10 handle, and an overall length of 8.25 inches with a weight of 3.75 ounces. So as you can see here, the Paramilitary 2 is just slightly longer in blade length and just slightly longer in handle length. So this actually is falling directly in between the two as far as length. Now, as far as footprint, the Smock is going to have the least of all three because it is a very slender profile. Now, let me go ahead and bring out a couple of other knives for you guys for a frame of reference, and then we'll do some profile comparisons and move on from there. I'm going to bring out the crossbar locks. This is the Benchmade Bug Out. The Bug Out has a 3.24 inch S30V blade steel with a 4.22 inch G10 handle, an overall length of 7.46 inches, and coming in with the Flytanium G10 scales at 2.3 ounces. You can see the comparison here, and I'm pausing before I bring out the other knife, is very similar as far as profile, very similar length. Now and you'll see here in a moment, the Smock is slightly thicker, but these two are very comparable, and I'm sure some of you out there will even say that probably the Osborne more so than the Bug Out, but it's a very similar footprint. The next knife I'm going to bring out is the Hogue Sig K320. This has a 3.5 inch S30V drop point blade with a 4.5 inch polymer handle for an overall length of 8 inches, so exactly the same length as the Smock, and coming in at 4.16 ounces. You can see there's a big difference though as far as footprint here. The Sig K20 is a much more full handled knife comparison, even though they're both coming in at 8 inches. Let me bring out the budget knife comparison, the last two knives, and then I'll do the profiles and give you my final thoughts and impressions. First up is going to be the Civivi Elementum, a very well-known EDC knife in the community, 2.96 inch D2 steel, 4.03 inch handles with micarta scales, an overall length of 6.99 inches, and coming in at a lightweight 2.89 ounces. Anything under 3 ounces is just super lightweight on my channel. You almost don't even know it's in the pocket. And the last knife I'm going to bring out, these are highly recommendable budget knives too, by the way. If you're looking at getting into this, or you're looking to give a gift to someone that's very affordable and highly recommendable, these are a couple of those. The competition under $50 has gotten insane lately. This has a 3.5 inch D2 steel, stone washed, really good looking knife. 4.6 inch micarta handles. This particular one has the burlap micarta. I like that because it has that rough texturing. It's such a different look, but that rough texturing helps with the grip. 8.1 inches overall, and 3.67 ounces. So you can see this one here also falls right in the middle of these, even though it is closer at 8 inches to the 8.1 inch feldspar. Let's do some profile comparisons real quick to some of these. You guys can get an idea of how thick the Smock is. You can see here, just a little bit thinner than the feldspar. Let's do a comparison up against the Elementum. I have a feeling these are going to be the same. Yep. And the Bug Out, which should be way thinner. Yeah. Like, it is ridiculous. I've got to try to remember not to rest my finger where it grooves down. So if you see me kind of slide back and adjust it, that's just so I'm actually on the flat part of these crossfade scales. There's a little groove right here, and that's what I'm trying not to sit in when I do these comparisons. But you can see the Bug Out is just significantly thinner. And the other crossbar, which is going to be the K320, which should be thicker with the polymer handles, and it is. Here it is against the Paramilitary 2, should be very similar. Actually, I'm surprised how much thinner the Smock is. I thought it'd be a lot closer, so that means it's going to be almost identical to the Yojimbo. And I am going to call that even though I'm even though I'm blocking the light, I'm going to call that even. So overall impressions, I like the Smock a lot. I think this is a fantastic EDC. I think it flexes very well into hard use duties. So push cuts, you can get right up on there. You can get that finger in the cutout and put your other fingers in here. And because it has that fantastic texturing for grip on the handles from the factory, you can really get in there. Now, the disadvantage to those power cuts is you can slide off the blade into this finger choil, and that's going to be with any finger choil, not just this knife in particular, but I just want to point that out. You can move up depending on what type of work you're doing. And if you're really going through a power cut, you can probably use your thumb as a guide. So let's just say going through your cardboard cut. So what I was saying is if you have your finger on the jimping, you can use your thumb kind of as a guide. But if you don't, what could happen if you're pushing is you're going to slide into that finger choil. But this could help keep you, as you're pushing, from doing that. So just, a small gripe, but again, I'm trying as I start to do more of these to be a little bit more critical of the knives because I don't want everybody to think that I just love everything. I love this knife. I think it's fantastic. It has a great fidget factor, and those skiff bearings that I threw on here, let me move this up just a little bit so I'm not quite so under the camera. These skiff bearings that I put on here, wow. I mean, they just really made it snappy, and it was good before. It was really, really good before. I think the smaller bearings and having more of them really make this smoother. I think that's really what happens when you add the skiff bearings onto any knife that that you can replace them, that if they have the ceramic ball bearings or the steel ball bearings or ball bearings period, whatever they are, you can replace them with the skiffs. Now, what I do really like about this, it has a very good weight and is very comfortable in pocket. Now, is this pocket clip the best? No, because it really does leave a lot of knife sticking out of the pocket. And I don't love that. And I have, I said when I got this knife, I wasn't going to replace this pocket clip because when it comes to the exclusives, I really don't want to change much about it because all of this has been made for this exclusive model, this exclusive version. The same can be said for the Yojimbo. It doesn't have the Spyder imprint in there, but it has been done to match all of the hardware, and I really don't want to change that out. I may have to because I really just don't like how much of it sticks out, and I really don't see myself getting rid of these two exclusives. So that's just something to take into consideration on any Spyderco, right? It's not just this one. It's going to be any Spyderco that you pick up. Even when I had this one and it was coming down, it was leaving this much, anything under the bolt holes, right? That's how much knife is leaving out of the pocket. That's a lot of knife being left out of the pocket. I can't really demonstrate it because it wants to focus on the table. So not just picking on this, but that's Spyderco's as a whole. On this particular knife, I will say one thing that I noticed, and I don't know that it's good or bad, I like the look of the drilled out holes on this model, but when it's in the pocket, it just lets that much pocket link get in here. But really, it doesn't matter to me because it has access to get in there, and you can actually kind of see some of it, I think. You have access to get in there to clean that out really nice. I love their take on the compression lock, making it a button lock. It's so much easier to operate than it is the traditional button lock. And not to say that this is hard, but you have less room, so your pinch area is smaller. And that's one thing that I want to, see if they could do is make all of their compression locks some type of button lock. And, you could essentially get rid of this knockdown and have this completely smooth and eliminate like any possible or potential hotspot. They knock it down so it's not really there, but you can feel where that hole is. And the other thing that I'll say too is if you're not really careful and if you get up on the knife, like if you're up on the knife, when you go to deploy it, it'll pinch your finger when you're using it. It's the craziest thing. And that's what I love about this. It completely eliminates that. And it makes it smooth and uniform. And I think it's a much cleaner look. So I love that about this. I love the fact that it gives you the thumb hole to reverse flick and to thumb hook. But I will say, I wish the detent was a little bit heavier. It is kind of light. So you really need to get in there and flick hard. Because if you don't, you could fail it. Like I'm intentionally trying to fail it. Like that time I tried to fail it and I didn't. And I think that might be because of the skiffs. But I think if it didn't have the skiffs, you could fail it because you really, for the flick for me, you want to have as much detent as you can so that you really come flying out of there and you pop out of there. The other thing too I worry about with this detent is that it doesn't really hold the blade in place. Like I'm barely, with the skiffs on there, I'm barely having to do that. And you can deploy it that way. So that's one of my complaints about the detent on there. I wish they would have put a little tiny bit of jimping up here. Nothing dramatic, just a little bit. I mean, they could have just done exactly what they did on the Yojimbo and just knocked it down ever so slightly. and that would have been nice. There's been a couple times where I've kind of slipped and missed. I would have liked to see that on here, especially for the money that you're paying. The detent and that flipper tab not having any type of jimping on there, I think that's something I'd like to see in future versions corrected. Overall, would I recommend this knife? Absolutely. This is an amazing EDC that can flex into anything. Really good ergos. This lock is going to be fantastic. It's going to be reliable. You're never going to have to worry about that. You have a 50% lockup. This knife is going to be able to do a lot of work. Now, M4 uncoated, you do have to worry about moisture, so you want to kind of oil it. I still oil this even though it's coated, just because I don't know what's going to be exposed over time from using it and fidgeting with it. But M4 is a fantastic steel. Weight's great, ergo's great. It offers a ton of different positions for you to use the knife. I love the Wharncliffe from a utility perspective and a user perspective. It covers a lot. I know I'm running long on this video, but I wanted to give a really good review, which is why I waited so long this time to do this review, because if you're considering this, you're dropping quite a bit of money. So I wanted to give something that was just robust and full of information and details and feedback. I would buy this knife over again. If there's other exclusives, I may buy that exclusive. That's how much I've enjoyed this knife. It's really been able to flex into everything that I need to do, that I carry, that I want from a carry knife for me. I hope this video has helped everyone out there. If you could leave a like for me, I really appreciate it. It helps me on YouTube. It helps the channel. If you're enjoying the content, totally up to you. Think about subscribing and turn on your notifications so you get alerts if you do decide to subscribe. If not, thanks for tuning into my video today. I really appreciate it. I hope you all have a fantastic week. And until next time, peace.